Continuing our look back to last weekend, let's go to one of the stars of New Zealand harness racing, Chris and Me, back in winning form. What he didn't do this week, Michael, obviously he went round and took the trail in the Rangiora Classic, but he's at Parkingham's still too good.
Yeah, a race he was always going to win. He didn't win by a hell of a lot, although he doesn't tend to win his races most of the time by a hell of a lot. I think a lot of the attention out of this race, fellas, was on the second horse, but we'll get to the winner first and then talk a little bit later about Titan Banner.
Yeah, 32 from 52 now, 2 from 2 this time back, and overall time, normally that would be a good time, 2:21.7, but as we saw later on with the two features, they went even quicker. Here's what Crandell Getty had to say.
Cran pre-race, I'm sure you had something in your head like what you would have liked the race to pan out. Nice patient drive from Dexter though.
Yes, it was. We knew he was sort of the better horse in the field. We didn't want to sacrifice him or break no record, but Dex drove him great. He's in reserve, and he did actually blow up over the back a wee bit. So, it's still a wee bit more improvement in him. Which it should be for the free-for-all racing he's going to be in the near future.
All right, post-race, does that just mean press on, put the foot down now?
Well, yes, he is. He's 7-year-old now, so he's a racehorse, he's got to sort of do the job now. So whatever race is available, we'll try and pick and choose and grab them. There is one here at Teddington next week. Depending what handicap it gets, he may. If he's too far back, he won't. But we'll build towards the Len Smith Mile in Sydney soon.
So obviously everything came to fruitation there, Michael.
Great word, fruitation. That's Cran's word. He was great. They're talking Len Smith Mile, maybe Queensland, then coming back for the New Zealand Cup. At the moment, I think Have Faith in Me still top dog in this division. I think maybe he's a better horse than Chris and Me, but I think Chris and Me might be better at a certain sort of racing. Of course, they are the last two Miracle Mile winners. We're lucky to have them both in the country. Craig, he was fantastic. I mean, he's...
Hey, just looking at this shot here before you go to Craig, what about Gavin Smith coming out and pushing one wider? Anyway.
Good on him. Yeah. I like competitive driving. But look, Craig, it's a bit of a shame we didn't have him over the summer because it would have been great to see him in the Miracle Mile, but it'll make the winter more interesting.
Well, it's got him in the Winter Cup this week, Michael. We'll talk about that very shortly, but hey, they went 3 seconds slower than the 2-year-old, so he got round at the right time. I clocked him this morning, 54.9 his last half on a windy day. They were running good times, Greg, but again, the concern is once he put a length and a half on them, that margin closed again at the line because he tends to wait for them. So something that he's going to have to work through.
Yeah, he is. Titan Banner was pretty good first up for the All-Stars team. So here's the market for the 4-year-old Emerald, and it was quite a significant move here, Michael.
21 to 350. I think they got it at $6. They got as short as $3, which is a bit silly, but I had a really good talk to Mark about him on Sunday. He said he was concerned, as anybody who watched the last 100 metres would be, he was touching a knee in a straight line. Now, Mark reckoned by the time they shoe him differently and muck around, and he's going to speak to former trainer Graham Anderson and get to the bottom of how they were teeing him up, that he might be fine around Cambridge. Do you want to be backing him at 350 around Cambridge, fellas, if he's touching a knee in a straight line at Addington? Not me, but they're geniuses, and maybe they can change him in the next 2 weeks. But Craig, he's got the motor, Titan Banner, but Cambridge Mile, I don't think it's his go.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I backed him on Monday. He was $6. And
6 is better than 350.
Well, it was 3 about an hour later, so it must have been a rather big move.
It's because you're a big scary man.
No, I having a whale scared a few.
Big scary fish.
To be honest, I thought his sectionals out just behind Chris and Me weren't much different. Now, he's race costed El Magnifico. He's a very good stayer. Hey, $6, I think he's clearly the second best horse in that race behind Field Marshal. Field Marshal gets a bad draw. Titan Banner gets a good draw. I'm not too worried about it, the way his gait. He's always been like that. But he's a horse that if he's on the speed, I reckon he'd be very hard to beat around Cambridge.
Didn't he try and go as fast as he possibly could?
Well, that's when he started to go rough, didn't he? He just tried so
really
very, very hard. Mark will work him out. I think he's a horse that he can win at Jules. I have no doubts he can.
Okay, let's move on to the feature for the 2-year-old Trotters. This is Hine, who's putting together a pretty good record, although not totally foolproof, but there was no problem here.
Look, you don't need to be a genius to work out he's better than these horses. Mark McNamara, I thought it was 13 3/4 lengths. I think Mark's being a smarty there. It was only 12 and a half. Clearly there's two standouts in the 2-year-old trot. Illawong Byron, the Australian, has pulled out because he's been put on the unruly, which means basically there's no point coming. This horse or Habibti Inter. Impossible to go past them, but of course they head this week to the Sire Stakes final. So that was the sales series, which can quite often be low-hanging fruit. Habibti Inter's a different kettle of fish, and this week Craig Ingheim has a second line barrier draw. Not sure that's his go.
No, it's not. Won the second race, so he's got his more favoured runner drawn nicely at barrier number 4, but disappointment out of that race, probably half the field gallop, and this is what you're going to have in a 2-year-old division heading towards a Jules, and we may not get a full field because we're light in numbers, but just shows you here, Greg, $2.20 versus $1.60. Had they drawn beside each other, that would be $1.40, $1.60.
And he's a little bit claustrophobic at this stage, Ingheim too, so inside back road, not ideal. Just on the runner number 1, heavyweight hero, Murray Edmonds always had a great run with the Trotters. The passing recently of Eric Inwood, who's been a significant player for that barn. I thought it was appropriate that horse ran second, and a nice moment for
and
the
it was
family.
a nice run too, Greg. So, yeah, I think this 2-year-old division, give it another couple of weeks. We'll know a lot more on Saturday, but I think with Ingheim, he's a horse that will just a roller. They're two totally different type of horses. Ingheim on the speed and rolling is a different monster.
Key factor there for the Jules, Custodian's been sold to Australia, and I believe, you were telling me this the other day, he might go join the All-Stars for the northern part of the trip, so he would be in Mark and Natalie's care for the Jules?
Possibly, yep.
Possibly.
Yep.
Okay, that's just something to take into play, but is he good enough to beat the other two? Maybe not.
Yeah, probably not at this stage, you wouldn't think. Okay, 3 Alabar Super Series finals we did have at Addington Raceway, so let's get through these, Craig, because a couple of nice performances. Usain Colt, I've always had a bit of a query on this horse, but not this day.
No, and he'll make his way to the top 11 of the Jules at the moment. Gets inside Captain Dalmio, Greg. It was a nice performance. Again, they run a bit of time, 3:14. Hey, could he win a Jules? Probably not, but he's in good form. And again, he goes to race again, and a good race this week.
And the stable's going very well, as we know, up over 50,000 now for the Stewarts out of Kalini, who they had good success with as well. Major Ben, who was bred by co-owners Margaret and Phil Crichton, and also the Mees from down that way own this horse too. And he still does a few things wrong, but it's a good effort to beat Ears Burning here.
What helped in this race was a great trip. He got a beautiful run on the 1-1. Again, he went faster than Usain Colt, went 3:12. Greg, he's a horse that came off the back of that big run down at Invercargill behind a very smart horse who will race there on Saturday. The Big Boss. I'm a bit questioning his gait, but no doubts with that sort of run, he's a very good horse.
Quivert, good day for Love You. All 3 trotting races won by that sire, and he was in front. And when you see those colours in front with D Butt looking around like that, you're feeling pretty good about life if you're on.
Well, yeah, I mean, Michelle Wallace and Bernie Hackett, they won all 3 trots at Alexandra Park, or won the main trots at Alexandra Park the other night. I think 3 of the 4. Paul Nairn, his team flying at the moment. This horse again makes its way into the top 12 of the Jules.
Yep. Destiny Jones, I thought, also very good in that race, and they go head to head over 2 miles. But we need to head to Alexandra Park Friday night. Decent sort of a race, Craig. You were there. She just keeps on winning.
Well, she does. She didn't get it easy early on because Strawberry Stride wanted the front, but Tony did relent after about 400 metres, and once she got into the zone, this filly, she's very hard to run down. Again, Delightful Memphis was there to challenge at the 150 metre mark, but like she does every week, Spanish Armada picked up again Michael Guerin, and she's going to be very hard to beat.
Only the second filly to win the Triple Crown after Classical. She's red hot for the Jules. What I saw there, if Delightful Memphis straws inside her, fellas, she can beat her. I don't think there's an enormous amount between them. I also don't think there's much in this grade. I think she's very good. I think Delightful Memphis is very talented, and I think there's a pretty decent gap. Renska B's probably 3rd pick, and there's a big gap back to the rest, fellas.
Yeah,
I think this is not a strong division.
On the undercard, I thought Party On was fantastic, winning early on, Michael.
She's jumped in.
Yeah, she's 26 into $11 on the back of... I mean, the reason I say that, because this filly holds a New Zealand record 241.9. Party on debut went 242, 3 wide. That's in a tremendous run.
Yep.
Now, if she gets a good draw, she's not as good as Spanish Armada, but again, 26 into 11, you're looking at that division around Renska B, Casino Bell. They're all very much similar.
Well, also, this horse goes to the Jules, obviously, and she's nominated for the Breeders' Crown. I think she'll go there. I don't think any 2-year-old filly would have won the big 3, then the Jules, then the Breeders' Crown. So she might end up with the record of one of the best juvenile fillies ever. I'm not saying that's what she is.
She's close to 300,000
Exactly.
now.
She might end up with $500,000 in stakes. It's possible. But if Delightful Memphis draws inside her for the Jules, I'm happy to be on her.
All right, sad passing over the weekend of former reinsman and horseman Simon Pavlovich. Very sorry to hear that, of course, associated with horses like Annie's Boy. Won at least a couple on him, of course, for Doug McLaughlin. So our thoughts are certainly with his family. All right. Sequence of wins continues for our Waikiki Beach as we go to the break. Let's check out the latest of his wins. This is the 18th in a row.
Our Waikiki Beach. Now Luke shakes it up. Cyclone Kate's yet to peel and go. They've burst away from the others. Now she's out and running. Our Waikiki Beach has to be called upon. Here's Cyclone Kate trying to cut back the margin. Inch by inch wearing down our Waikiki Beach, who lifts. Our Waikiki Beach gets a half, now 3/4, holds the mare. And our Waikiki Beach, 18 from 18, wins it a neck. Second was Cyclone Kate.